customizing your resume to each application that you make. But it is very useful because you tend to, or the aim is to speak the same language as the hiring manager, right? Or speak the same language as is included in the job description. So it's quite important that that those things are aligned as much as possible. But yeah, if you're getting used to that, that's great. But I do recommend that you reach out to the closest community that you have at this point in time, which is your peers and your facilitators. And then in a second instance is family, friends, people that you know that you've worked with before, that you've communicated with before as well. It can only be helpful. I see Kellyanne is writing CV writing. Kellyanne, could you maybe expand on that a bit? What is your issues or what challenges are you encountering pertaining to CV writing? Gideon, can you hear me? Okay, all right. I'll wait for you to type in your answer. Milfred, go for it. No technical experience. Could you please expand on that and tell us more about that challenge and how you're thinking of overcoming that?
So, good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
You already answered part of the question because Maxwell also mentioned it. So, presently, I'm trying to do like a lot of practice, like trying to build some stuff on my own
Hmm.
individually. Yeah. So then, like for me, the one of the main challenges is like I've never worked for like officially I've never worked for anyone.
Hmm.
And like when I was back home in my country, like I used to have like a business, like family business. So now it's a bit challenging for me to like be working for someone. So like should I say
Hmm.
like that fear is in me or panic or so, yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm still
Yeah.
trying to overcome it. And like for the interview, I've never experienced any interview in my life.
Hmm.
Like in Sierra Leone, like most of the jobs, because of I want to gain some different experiences, I would just decide, okay, let me volunteer and
Hmm.
go there and work. So those are the challenges. So,
Okay. So well, thank you for sharing that, Wilfred. I think that that's super useful. Again, for people, and I understand this is challenge among various people and students, is that you don't necessarily have prior experience to back you up in your applications for certain internships. So I think that's okay. What you should be thinking about is how else it's also asking yourself this question, right? Is how else can I show a hiring manager that I have or I am learning and acquiring certain technical and soft skills, right? And this can be done through various means. You could, yeah, exactly. It's all right. It's totally all right. Um, One of the things that you can think of is exactly what you said, Milfred, right? It's engaging in individual projects, trying to build things individually, get your GitHub nice and full with individual projects, but also, again, there's 2,000 plus students at ALU in ALU Rwanda, right? A big portion of whom are doing software engineering, either in first, second, or third year. It is very possible to align your missions and find people who have similar missions who would be keen on working on a project, business venture that could be interesting for all of you, right? So it's a way really of it's a way really of banding together so that maybe a couple of other people are searching for the same opportunities, but they just don't know how and who to reach out to, right? So keep that in mind that there are other people who also need to acquire experience and need to apply their knowledge to something that is showcaseable, I would say, that would allow you the opportunity to get into an internship, right? So keep those things in mind. So there's projects is one, either individual or in group with your peers. Volunteering is a great way to earn experience. And again, a lot of the first experiences that you go through might not be directly in the field of software engineering or software development and front or back end and stuff like that, right? It might be in a more general business internship, for example, marketing, et cetera, which is still very valuable because what you're gaining is what we call transferable skills. Transferable skills are also known as soft skills, right? Communication, collaboration, time management, project management, all of these different things that would allow you to manage and how you do your job, right? The technical skills is what would allow you to do your job because that's what you're going to be doing. But the soft skills and the transferable skills are what's going to allow you to manage how you do your job. It's very, very important that there's a good mix of both. We nowadays, employers expect, say, graduates a good mix of both. So applied knowledge of, your technical skills and experience, a bit of experience, not, years and years of experience, but also transferable and soft skills. Yeah, granted, Milfred, and that's okay, right? There's always a way to, again, showcase that you are using your software engineering skills, and that would be through volunteering, through projects. You know, let's say, for example, you've been through, I don't know, if BSc students go through eLab, I would suppose so. Even if not, it's very possible to start thinking about, okay, what is my mission, first of all? How do I reach out to others who may have a similar mission than me so that we can actually band together and make things happen, right? And work on an app or work on a website or work on a business idea that would involve tech. It could be in agriculture, medicine, transport. It could be in any one of these, in the creative arts. It could be of any one of these, right? So it's again, this is the whole aspect of taking ownership of one's student journey and this whole self-directed learning approach that ALU has, right? It's if you find it difficult to actually, reach out and get an opportunity, create the opportunity for yourself and together with others. It's very difficult to sometimes do things alone. You don't necessarily find the strength and the motivation to do so. So surround yourself with the people that align with your aspirations and your goals and work together to make it happen, right? I think that would be a good thing to think about. So yeah, let me know if I've managed to provide you with a couple of ideas. I think it's always useful to also Coursera. Make sure you're always gaining the skills, but make sure you're also looking for opportunities to use those skills. That's what's important. Um, no worries, Milfred. My pleasure. Um, Also see, okay, Kellyan's answered, I do not have any experience, first of all, and how to structure it because I will have to tailor my CV for an internship application rather than a job application. I do not know the difference. All right, so again, Kellyan, I suppose that what year are you in? What year and term are you in? First year, second year? Second year, okay. So by this time, you must have already worked on a couple of projects, right? Whether it's eLab, whether it's other projects within your academic experience. I'm sure there's quite a lot, right? Group projects, individual projects, assignments, exactly. So bank on the group projects, right? What have these projects been about? Probably finding solutions to certain problems, right? That's pretty much what assignments and group projects are all about, finding solutions to problems. And that could be usable instead of in the place of experience if you don't have any professional experience at this day. And very similar to what I was saying to Milford, is finding opportunities. First of all, in your academic experience, find the proof that you have acquired and developed certain skills and you've put them into application to actually find a solution to a problem, right? Together with other people, because it's important that you showcase as well that you know how to collaborate and you know how to maybe there's an assigned leader and the others are kind of working in community to report to or work together with that leader, right? It's important to showcase those skills as well, as I was saying. Um, but essentially, if you don't have experience, professional experience to put in that specific section, it's always possible to volunteer, to participate in projects, to reach out to your friends, create projects, create a business idea, participate in conferences, um, do Coursera courses, et cetera, right? It's not necessarily about proving that you have experience in the first instances when you're looking for an internship. It's more about showing what efforts you are making as well, right? So what are you doing to be I would say marketable uh, in your early career, which is as a student in internship, right? So, am I working on projects? Am I looking for the opportunities to again employ my skills and my knowledge and my abilities that I'm getting in classrooms to something that's worth my time and worth my energy? So, I'm going to throw another question to you, Killian. What's your mission in? Do you have a mission? What are you focusing on at the moment? Creating a taxi booking app. Right? So one of the things that, and again, Killian, where are you from? Okay, all right. So I'm sure that something already exists in Central African Republic that, a taxi booking app. In any case, I imagine that you're on the ground in Kigali at the moment where you have Yego and you have Move, right? So, okay, so it doesn't exist in Central African Republic. That's great. That means there's research to be done and things to and a business idea to be created, right? So that's amazing. So, but are you on the ground in Kigali at the moment? Okay, that's great. So you have two companies who do this. You also have other companies who do mobility and all that, e-mobility and stuff like that that are actually engaged in pretty much the same things as well. Um, So I think having been to Kigali a couple of times, I think about Yego and I think about Move. Move specifically because they're branded, right? It's a collaboration with Volkswagen, and they have their app, their tracking app. Oh, I know a couple of things, Emma. Um, I know that Move has their tracking app and their payment system. Everything is set up quite solidly, right? With the drivers and the time that it takes for the driver to get to you and all that stuff, right? So maybe reaching out to Move or reaching out to Volkswagen, Move that part of the company is a step that you can take, right? Even if it's for in the first instances to do an informational interview with someone who works there, see how the app works, maybe get in touch with the software developer that's work or the team that's working on that. um, get in touch with the marketing team. How do they market that? Get in touch with the supply chain and logistics team because there's a deal there with Volkswagen on the different waves of cars that come in to Kigali. So it started by Volkswagen Polos. Now I can see the hatchback ones. Now I can see Volkswagen Polos, the larger ones. I can see the last time I was in Rwanda in January. I can't remember, I think, I can't remember the model, but there was another kind of upscale Volkswagen car. I've seen Passat as well, which is a bit more high scale as well. So there's different markets as well that they're trying to identify. So maybe reaching out to that, given that that's your mission is to create this a taxi booking app, experience and knowledge is to be received from people who already do it, right? So who knows? Reaching out and getting an informational interview with someone at Move, for example, could branch on to a an internship or a shadowing experience for you, which will serve you because you have that mission and you want to do something very similar, if not the same thing, in Central African Republic, right? So again, it's not necessarily about the experience that you already have in the early stages of your career while still at university. It's how you're positioning yourself to actually acquire that experience. Because, it's like think about it as a nightclub, right? When sometimes when you go to a nightclub, and I don't know if you guys go nightclubbing or whatever, but it's a common thing to refuse access at the door and say, hey, you're not a usual customer. But how can I become a usual customer if you don't let me in, right? So it's that mindset about how to position yourself to become a usual customer so that they actually allow you in that first time. Very similar to how to get that first opportunity or internship opportunities. How do you position yourself so that they consider you to be a worthy candidate of taking up an internship opportunity? Are you working on projects? So if you have if your mission is to create a taxi booking app, what have you done so far? How far are you in on that project? Does your GitHub, have schematics and stuff like that, or do you have projects on your GitHub? Do you actually have GitHub, and are you working on fitting that up with different projects that you've worked on? And so again, a lot about positioning yourself as well. And Imab, I've been to Rwanda a fair amount of times. I know a few things. Any other questions? Again, I want to reiterate that this is a place where we're coming to you straight away, Imab, where we want to share our updates, share our challenges, share our doubts about this journey of acquiring your internship experience for your skills immersion module that's coming up next term. The floor's yours, Imab. Go for it.
Yeah, thank you. I think Randy is getting famous very quickly. And another challenge to add in what they have been saying that I've currently seen, and of course, what Maxwell said is right, because there's a guy that told me he's going to secure for me an internship, but it was just that I was recommended to him by someone else. So, having someone in the field who can recommend you is always good. But the thing is, again, in which is also connected to that. Sometimes I feel like if someone's going to recommend me to someone, and then I don't know, if I happen to disappoint them because they're maybe expecting a second year software engineer student who probably they think is maybe I don't know, like very very smart in what he's doing. And then what happened is not that I'm trying to trash our university, but the teaching style is not always the best for every student. Giving you some assignment, going out to look for the resources or the lectures for yourself. Actually, all the lectures probably expect maybe yours, but all the other lectures that we have had that are technical are less valuable in comparison to a tutorial on YouTube, which is very, very sad. And when then I'm being asked what I can do, given the way I've been told, you're given a technology, you don't even spend on it a month, you go to another, you don't spend on it, and then at the end of the day, you can't define exactly who you are. Sometimes I say, you're a front end. I say, well, I'm still liking things to be called a front end. They say, you're a back end. Again, I'm not sure if I can call myself a back end. And now the problem have been defining myself, who I am. Am I a back end? Am I a front end? Am I a full stack? I can't even dare to say that. And what I do is I just give out my CV and my resume to someone and say, I'm going to give it to you. You'll judge. You see if I can fit or if I can't fit. I'm lacking a lot of things to be called a front end, many other things to be called a back. And that has been a challenge to me to address myself as something confidently, knowing when this person is going to give me an internship or something, and making sure that I'm not hyping my own self, or I'm not trying to, just appear smart when I'm not. So that has been a challenge to some extent. And I would love to know what you would talk about that.
All right. Thank you for sharing that, Imab. I think that's very open of you and vulnerable of you to share that actually. So I have a question maybe before I go into any advice here. how much experience do you have with what I think you're in software engineering, so you're in second year, you're going to do your skills immersion next term. So what kind of experience do you have? What internships or part-time jobs or full-time jobs have you held up until now?
None actually.
Okay, so it's very difficult for you to actually coin yourself as something, right? So it's quite normal that at this point in time in your, let's say, your academic career or your professional career, which is yet to start, to call yourself a full stack developer, a front end or back end developer, an AI person or whatever, right? Do you agree with that?
Yes.
And again, I'm not dissing you here, obviously. It's just a reality that you're early on in your career, and and you're very right. Sometimes there is the notion that what you're learning in class is not necessarily um, of added value, but what you're learning in class um, sometimes may be the foundational pieces of knowledge or information that you have to have pertaining to certain coding languages, concepts, et cetera, right? Being a student at ALU, we actually that going on YouTube or going on Coursera or going to find these other resources is exactly what we want you to do. So that you're able to discover and explore and figure out for yourself which of these careers or which of these fields of software engineering and development are you more attracted to, right? Is it full stack? Is it front end? Is it back end? Is it machine learning? Is it, whatever it is? I'm not necessarily well versed in the language, but which one is it that is of more interest to you, right? And then again, this is why we prompt you guys as well to actually engage in informational interviews. Go look for a well-versed, like highly experienced full stack developer, right? Talk to them, organize questions, and you can prompt ChatGPT. I want to do an informational interview with an experienced full stack developer. What are some questions that I can ask that will provide me with information I can use to make a decision on whether this is a pathway or a direction I want to follow, right? And ChatGPT will give you some questions to ask. You can add your own questions if there's some things that you haven't thought of, or that some things that ChatGPT hasn't thought of. And then go looking for that person. Same for front end, same for back end, same for machine learning, same for everything, right? The thing is that to be able to take an informed decision of how to position yourself, you need to do that ground research, right? There's, you need to build that information bank to be able to say, hey, I want to become a full stack developer. I want to become a um, a data engineer or whatever, like anything, right? How do I get there? If you don't know how to get there, go and look for someone who has got there or who is there, so that they tell you what you need to go through or what they went through to actually get to where they are right now. And again, I go back to the fact that even if you don't have any experience, it isn't necessarily something that's going to hold you back from getting an internship opportunity to begin with, right? So, for example, if you're into full stack development, one thing that I would recommend is go and research on Salesforce. Salesforce for me is one of the best full stack products out there. It's an amazing tool from job science to CRM to Salesforce Marketing Cloud. The whole thing from A to Z is just so well thought out that it's you can't set sales or you can set Salesforce aside because that they're just so good, right? Again, you can want to become through your research a Salesforce engineer or a Salesforce administrator and stuff like that. Again, we have a Salesforce administrator at ALU. You can talk to him. You can talk to the tech team. What are you guys involved in? What has your career looked like? How can I do this and that, et cetera, right? So again, not necessarily about already having the experience when you're just looking to start off it's about how you position yourself to actually acquire, to actually get into that opportunity to start building your experience. Yeah, does that make sense? Cool.
Yeah,
I
it
saw a
makes
thumbs up.
sense.
Awesome, awesome. All right. Yeah, so for those of you who just joined, again, it's pretty. Oh, sorry, I forgot to put my camera back on. I just had to go and get my charger. Yes, so just to reiterate, this session is really, again, it's quite an open house session to answer any of your questions, for you as well to share any updates, challenges, doubts, issues that you are encountering on your journey to locking down and securing that opportunity for your skills immersion module next term. So I see a couple. Philbert, hi again. Emir, say, Abraham, thank you for joining. If any of you have or want to share anything, what are your challenges, your doubts? What has been maybe, or the prompting question in the beginning was, what have been maybe your biggest challenges in this journey to building yourself up and acquiring an internship opportunity? Or, excuse me, any insights that you've made, or any realizations that have come to you on things that you should stop doing, that you should start doing, and that you should continue doing. So feel free to unmute or to raise your hand if you want to, but unmute and share with us what your experience has been up until now, and how you are looking forward to engage in what's to come. Again, I'm going to reiterate, if no one's going to engage, I'm just going to close the call because it really has to come from you guys. Again, what has been the challenges and or the key insights that you have made since you've embarked on professional skills lab for those doing BEL, or the preparation that is required of you to actually lock down this opportunity. Imab is saying, Emil, say something. Oh, also something, Imab, that you mentioned a bit earlier on is, and I think we spoke about this in the last in the session before last that we had, the open house is, excuse me, is this fact of, talking to people and people telling you that, connect you with someone who has who might have an opportunity, etc., etc. It's good, obviously, to network. It's what we want you to do. What we don't want you to do, however, is depend on other people. Right? It's a losing game already. If you put your trust into someone, make sure that you follow up with them if they ghost you. And also, as we say, don't put all your eggs in the same basket, right? It's a bad investment. It's a bad way of thinking. If one egg breaks, most likely that the other eggs will break if everything is in the same basket. So you want to, get various baskets, put them in different ones, and make sure that you tend to each basket in due time, right? So yes, you need to reach out to people who are in employment, your family, your friends, your community, but also you have to apply for jobs, you have to seek jobs, you have to build the knowledge, you have to do informational interviews, you have to reach out to your learning coaches and your mission curators and all of those people, because I mean, at ALU, there's a massive community, right, of very experienced and well-versed people. That's the first network you should be taking into consideration is the people who are teaching you, but also the person that is on your right and on your left, because they're the ones who are going to grow into the professionals of tomorrow. So how can you work together already to build experience and to build projects and to build systems and processes and business ventures and ideas that could provide you, the I would say the greater world out there with value. So never depend on other people, right? It's good to have that as a basket, but don't depend on them fully. depend on yourself. Like focus on your star player. But Abraham is of it says, of course, there is that uncertainty, sorry, about a new role, the thought that I might not be able to do a good job and feeling unqualified. Right, Abraham, could you unmute and maybe give us a bit more context here? Why do you feel that you might not be able to do a good job or feel unqualified? Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Alphonse.
Call me Jerome, please. No, no, mister. I'm not that old.
It's fine. Yeah. So I was saying, like, I've never worked before, and it's gonna be my first job, my first internship. And since I'm in software engineering, maybe my CV or LinkedIn profile is a bit of a hype, then my employer might decide to give me, like a job that thinks it fits my qualifications. And
Mhm.
I'm still learning. I think I'm still learning, and I'm still not yet there where I can fully utilize the skills I've learned, or the ones they just say software engineering in general, all the languages and all. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'm not. Uh, I would
Mm,
not say like I'll do a very good job since it's my good job, and I'm just worried that what if they think I'm a fraud after a couple of few weeks of trying of working and
mm.
all, and yeah, it looked like they might say I was trying to gaslight them and all. That had me kind of worried. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I totally feel you, Abraham. It's something that it's called imposter syndrome, right?
yeah,
When we think that we move into a space and we think that we're not going to be up to par or up to the expected level. It's normal. When I joined ALU, I had massive imposter syndrome. Like no guys. Like everyone around me was from like Stanford and like from these Ivy League schools, and had masters and PhDs and stuff like that. I just have like a bachelor's degree, and I'm coming to do professional development with students. Like, oh, what am I going to do, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I felt small. Like, I felt really, really tiny compared to these guys who had, master's degrees, PhDs, good experience, Ivy League schools. I went to like an Australian university, and other people were in UK. And I went to an Australian university based in Mauritius, where I live, right? So, I felt kind of, yeah, I felt small. First of all, I think to some extent that should help you, right? And we should consider that as, um, let's say, a motivating factor because you have something to prove, not to others, but to yourself first, right? Others will come after. Focus on yourself. If you're doubting about yourself and that you'll do a good job, prove that to yourself that you actually will do a good job by doing what you need to do. Right? That's the most important thing. So, you know, I think it's very important because it seems to me that you've locked down an opportunity, right, Abraham? You got that opportunity?
yeah. I have like two prospective roles that I should be starting in May.
Okay, amazing. Congratulations for that already. Again, for the others still in search of opportunities, maybe share, the other one or share contact details and stuff like that with your peers, right? Um, I think it's again important to know that the person that's going to hire you and going to supervise or manage you needs to be aware of these things, right? They need to be aware of the fact that you are still learning, and this is going to be, every first professional experience is a very steep learning curve. It's gonna, it's like a hill, it's uphill, and the effort that you're going to have to make to actually climb that hill is going to be quite hard in the beginning until you get to a point where you learn, you get used to the company, you get used to the people, you get used to the work that you need to do, and then it gradually, and then as your career moves on, the hill kind of gets like this, and it gets easier and easier to walk, sorry, until there's something new that you have to learn, and then it goes like this again, right? Then it goes like this. It's pretty much a wave. It goes like this as your career evolves. So very important to know that the person that's going to supervise you needs to be aware of where you're at in your learning journey. right? You need to sit with that person, you know, regularly, every week. I would say maybe once or twice, and say, hey, I need feedback from you. I need some advice from you on what can I do better? How can I think about these problems, et cetera, right? Make them aware so that they're not blindsided if, you're not working up to their expectations. You see what I mean? It's very, very
Yeah.
important. Expectation management is super, super important in every aspect of life, right? Because Mr. X, Y, Z might think, oh, Abraham, he's learned about this, this, and this at university, or he's done, these Coursera courses and looked at YouTube videos. So I expect him to, do this, quite quickly. But hey, maybe Abraham has never actually had the time or opportunity to actually put these skills into practice. And that person should know that. And that person should know that he is the first person to actually give you that opportunity. So he should be mentoring and coaching you and providing you with feedback and direction to actually implement the knowledge and the skills that you've acquired in the classroom through Coursera or however else you're acquiring this knowledge, right? So it's very, very important. Set those expectations, communicate with your supervisor slash manager so that you can work together. You don't want to have the feeling of working for someone. Um, I think that's, you're going to have that impression at some point in your career for sure. For me, for example, I always want to have the really strong feeling that I'm not working for someone, that I'm working with someone. That often happens with what we call your N+1, so the person who is managing you, right? So we work together, not working for you. Obviously, you'll give me directions and responsibilities and tasks, and I have to report to you. But essentially, we're working together so that we can solve a problem or we can find products and services to offer to solve a problem. Right? So, understandable. Again, I think it does boil down to self-confidence, right? And that's buildable, right? It's a constant work in progress. Try and get rid as soon as possible of that imposter syndrome by working on the things that you need to work on to actually gain confidence on your technical and your soft skills. Does that make sense? Does that help a bit at least?
Thank you. Yeah, at least.
Awesome, awesome. And guys, I always want to reiterate that these are conversations we can have in an open forum, but these are also conversations that we can actually dive deeper into on a one-to-one basis. And I could give you a couple of student names of students that I've been working with on a regular basis, been checking in and out every single week or every couple of weeks or every month, that just through the back and forth and sharing insights and sharing challenges, they realize that there's just some things that they haven't been doing that they have never considered before because they just, they just don't know. And it's fine not to know. That's why you're at school or you're at university, right? You have to end up knowing. Otherwise, why would you be here? So again, reach out, right? Book these coaching conversations. Come with your challenges. Come with your questions. Come with your objectives. I'll give you an example. There's a student. I'm not going to name his name in case he doesn't want to, but I think he's in his skills immersion term this term. I think he's participating in the Accra Select initiative. We had a conversation. We've been having conversations for the past couple of, I would say, past few months, say past 4 or 5 months actually, on and off. Sometimes it's 2 times or 3 times a month. Sometimes it's once a month, depending on what's happening in time. I've seen this student jump from realization to realization, and that just that really motivates me as someone who has that as a job, to motivate and to see people grow or contribute to the growth of people, right? He went from a place where he was exploring 3 different career paths, marketing, whatever. And he actually, for the past 5 days or the past 2 weeks, let's say, he's been reaching out to people to conduct informational interviews. What has happened in these informational interviews is 2 major things, right? One thing, and this is why it's so important to reach out and build that confidence to reach out, right? One thing is he's getting insight on the careers and the industries that he wants to be part of or that he's currently exploring, venture capital, marketing, business development, et cetera, et cetera. So he's getting loads of industry insight. He's meeting people and building network. So actually three really important things: industry insight, building network. And what's amazing, he's actually gaining access to opportunities through these people. There's a couple of people we met that'll be like, oh, I'll link you to this person. This person told me that they were looking for an intern or told me that they're looking for a part-timer, et cetera, et cetera. So again, those three things just will, as a result of just reaching out, doing some research, some groundwork and researching, getting some knowledge about the industry. And that's why it's such an important step in the I don't know if you were all present in the Professional Skills Lab SI info session at the beginning of the term. It's why it's so important to do industry research, because you end up having insight that you can use again to take this informed decision, right? So yeah, and again, I'll come back to the informational interviews. Just by being able to reach out, make contact with people who he's met in Accra, that he's met before, people he's engaged with, and ask questions. Hey, do you mind jumping on a 30-minute call whenever? I already have some questions that I would like to ask you because I'm currently doing a bit of research and trying to take a decision on what direction I want to take in my career. Bam. And gets back to him right away. Professionals love doing this, right? Professionals with experience in different fields love sitting down and mentoring and providing insight and sharing their knowledge, if they're good people, which most of them are, right? So yeah, build that confidence to reach out, do those informational interviews, get in touch with people, essentially get yourself out there, right? It's, what's the worst that can happen? Someone's not going to answer to you. And we talked about this last time. It's like a relationship. Someone ghosts you, what do you do? Imab, you were there last time. Philibert as well, you were there last time. What did we say about this? Someone ghosts you, what happens? What's next?
I remember that you said we have to send a couple of emails, maybe
Yeah,
often, and at the end you move on, you look for someone else.
exactly. If no one gets back to you after you reach out and you followed up a couple of times, it's right. Jump back on your horse and keep on running, man. Like keep on keeping on. There's no other option. It's not the end of the world. Far from it. It's just the world telling you that you should just move on. Very, very simple. I hope that helped, Abraham.
Yeah, thank you very much. So,
My pleasure. My pleasure. All right. I think we have, how much time do we have left? Around half an hour, 24 minutes. So we still have a fair amount of time. Any other questions, doubts, comments, maybe things that even in your experience you would like to share with other people who are on the call today? Joanne, Philbert, Maxwell, Josephine, Emirance, haven't necessarily heard from you yet. Do you have any questions? What are your challenges? Please do share with us. Or not. All right. Seems that everyone no one really has challenges apart from those who spoke up. Anyone has questions, doubts, achievements they'd like to share? Or does no one have any achievements either?
Can I share my CV so you can go through it and tell me if it's okay?
So Maxwell, for that, I would prefer that you book in a coaching session with me.
Okay.
So do you have access already to the SPD Hub?
Yeah, I have access.
Okay, great. So just jump on the coaching conversations page I have a slot remaining for tomorrow
Okay.
at 9 a.m. CAT. If that's not good for you, I have my next available slot is 2 p.m. CAT on Monday. Or whichever availability next week would work for you. So up to you to book me in. What I like to do in those cases is really bring you through on each section and provide you with live feedback on each section. And then you take notes, I'll leave a couple of comments maybe, then we book a second call to actually finalize everything. Again, this should have been done ideally, a fair amount of weeks before, to already have a resume ready that you can use to apply for internship opportunities. But it's okay. I'd say it's never too late, but it should have ideally been done before. So feel free to book me in already for either tomorrow, Monday, or any. It's only on Tuesdays that I don't have coaching sessions. So up to you to book me in whenever you're ready.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Patrick, for sharing the link. Again, on the SPD Hub as well, you have access to certain resources. If you simply click, actually, let me just share my screen in a second. Right. There we go. So this is what you're seeing now is the administrator view, because I logged in as an administrator. But if you hover over resources here, you have coaching, conversations, internship support letters, and learning resources. So you can obviously click on there to book coaching conversations. You click on here or on here to request your internship support letter. Learning resources is access to the employability enhancement program and a couple of other things. But if you simply click on resources up here, it'll bring you to a page where there's a couple of different documents. So the Skills Immersion Guide is pretty much what we went through as the PSL SI info session. So that's not really relevant because you already have that. But you have the template that we share with all of you. We have a little guide we shared a resource to guide you through writing a cover letter, interview tips, networking wisely, job search resources. So don't forget to take advantage of what exists on the SPD Hub as well as we build this out. We're currently rebuilding the team at the moment, so there'll eventually be someone who will be taking up these, the curation of the resources that will be available to you. Yes, Maxwell, I see you have your hand up.
Oh, also, I think there's a delay with the internship support letter.
Yes, there was a bit of a backlog.
Because I feel last weekend, yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting through it. So I have, I still have around 49 to process. So probably yours should be in there by the end of this day or before lunch even. You'll have your letter. No worries.
Thank you.
Just if you could, as soon as you receive it, just send me a little, or I'll look out for your name. Just send me a little Google chat message telling me that, hey, I just received my letter. Thank you very much. Just to let me know that you've received it. If you haven't, then just I'll let you know to put in a fresh request.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks, Maxwell. Imam, the deadline for what?
Is it for requesting the letters?
Yes, there is a deadline. So considering that you have until the second learning week of next term to register your skills immersion or to register which track you want to be on. So the internship, the virtual internship simulation, the select initiative or whatnot. After that second week, we won't be processing internship support letters for the period that would be in. That means from May to August. Make sense? Oh, awesome. Oh my God, I'm just going to turn off the aircon here because it's getting a bit cold. Yes, Philibert, I can see you just raise your hand. Tell me.
I'm curious on whether we we can apply for the roles written Mauritius in the CD. I mean, the location is Mauritius. I mean, can we apply for them, or we apply to only students who are in ALC?
So if the position is in Mauritius, I would say avoid applying for those because those are meant for students who are on the ground at ALCHE in Mauritius. They might be eventually, for example, there's sometimes internship or part-time opportunities that you'll see remote or you'll see anywhere. For example, there's a UX full-time internship opportunity for a junior ML engineer researcher, and it's stated that it's anywhere. So you can be anywhere. You can be West Africa, East Africa, Southern Africa, wherever you want. You can be in the States, you can be wherever, because it's a remote internship. If you see ALCHE Mauritius or Dubai, Nigeria, etc., that means they're pretty much looking for someone who is on the ground.
Was asking that because some roles do sponsor, like the work permit for someone to move. So just curious.
Well, it depends. So when we speak to that's normally specified in the job description, right? So if they're willing to hire, I spoke to an employer yesterday or the day before at a company called Dayforce. They are open to hiring alumni who are on the continent, who are still on the continent, because a lot of the people who graduated from ALCHE Mauritius have moved back home. Some of them have gotten jobs here, soon after they completed their studies and they transitioned directly into work after their studies. Some went back to the continent, started working. Some went for further studies. But there are some companies who do in Mauritius and elsewhere that consider applications from people who are on the continent for elsewhere. And yes, if they're offering those positions, they should take care of the work permits, occupational permits, and stuff like that. For internships, it's a bit more difficult. I'm not going to lie. They're probably not going to offer an internship if they know they have to get someone to fly in, because obviously it's a bigger cost. So they'll have to cover accommodation or a certain amount of accommodation, flights, visa costs, etc. All right, we have a quarter of an hour left. I'll maybe open the scope a bit more. Any advice you are seeking, anything that you are in general wary about the job market, your future, your career, your ambitions. Let's open the scope of the discussion a bit more. There's not a lot of you, so I'm ready to answer any questions and provide insight on anything, career related. Yes, Maxwell, go for it.
Since I'm seeing you alone here, can you make some of us be your interns for the career coaching?
So I can't simply make someone my intern. You have to go. There's a process to it, right? So
Yeah.
we will be as from April, the end of April. No, as from April, I think. I don't know. I think end of April, sometime during the month of April, we'll be rehiring an intern, maybe one or two. I'm not very sure yet. So again, this is why it's important to bookmark the SPD Hub and regularly jump on it, maybe every afternoon, go see what the new opportunities on the SPD Hub. Just keep in touch as new opportunities might pop up every single day, as they can pop up every 2 days or every week, right? So keep in touch.
Okay.
Maybe one thing that we look forward to with interns is autonomy. Taking charge and initiatives and bringing new ideas to the table. Being able to put the work in, pretty much, right? Something that's very important to us is that we want we want the intern that we work with to be the bridge between the students and the SPD team, right? So we rely a lot on how is that intern going to communicate with students to allow us to make our services and our offerings better, and more relatable to students, so that we can help more people, support more students in any way we can, provided we have the resources and budgets.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that's maybe a bit of a insight into the type of intern we like to work with. So yeah, keep in touch with the SPD Hub and the internship and the job board on the SPD Hub. You'll see it's probably going to be called SPD Intern. It'll probably be so. What's happening at the moment is that we are restructuring teams. So there'll be a dedicated SPD team in Rwanda, and eventually there'll be a dedicated SPD team in Mauritius. So I'll be, given that I'm based here, I'll be taking up Mauritius, and we're currently hiring for the SPD Rwanda team at the moment. They will become your focal point of contact. Obviously, I don't, I don't discriminate. I love working with all the students across campus. It's been what I do for the past 3-4 years now. I love engaging with anyone who wants to engage with me, and grow and develop themselves. So my calendar and my schedule is always open to anyone who wants to book me in. It's as you wish, but do reach out. So yeah, that was just to say that it would be the dedicated SPD Rwanda team who would then be looking after the SPD intern hiring. All right, 10 minutes left on the clock. Any other questions? Yes, good point, Patrick. Thank you for mentioning that. If you are willing to apply for the an SPD intern role eventually, it's a good thing that you're on this call, first of all, right? So we want you to have knowledge of the things that we do, to have participated in the employability enhancement program, what it means to go through it, how useful it is, what's the actual purpose. We would have wanted you to go through or to attend the events. Yeah, truly interested in all SPD matters, exactly. Participated in our events, been in our sessions, booked coaching conversations, so you know what it is that we do, and you know what value we are trying to bring to students. We're very small, and we have always been a very small team, but from the feedback we get from the customer satisfaction surveys we send out to students every single term is that we're actually better. The customer satisfaction scores are quite much better than other teams. So that's something like we're quite proud of. Yeah, we really want to the intern that we bring on board to have engaged with us previously, whether it's in the events, coaching, the EEP and the content, et cetera, so that with that knowledge, you can bring in suggestions and ideas and initiate projects. And that's something as well that we love to do is you're going to obviously as an intern have responsibilities and tasks that will be assigned, but there's also a lot of space to initiate a project. And the way I've liked to manage my team and interns is, okay, what are you willing to work on? What is the skill that you want to put into practice, and what is something that you want to get better at? And how do you want to take advantage of this space to actually work on that skill? So if it's data skills, for example, how can you employ your data skills within the realm of SPD to make our offerings better and to increase or to improve student experience, for example? If you want to work on your design skills and social media skills, how can you put that into effect to help us manage and curate our SPD Instagram page or SPD LinkedIn page? Or we've been we've been struggling to build a newsletter, for example. So we really want someone to come in and help us with that as well. Communicating and showcasing students, for example, who've been on internships with our employer partners, and what have our employer partners been saying about our students as well. So, you know, we just really want people who are responsible, who take ownership and accountability of what they do, are disciplined, are able to plan, to organize themselves, are willing to initiate, really. I think that's really what all employers look for in an employee or an intern, is really someone who's responsible, dedicated, and disciplined, with a sense of creativity and initiative taking. Yeah, and self-motivated for sure. Any other questions?
Not a question, but the way that you mentioned that when you take someone, the question that you like asking is what someone would love to develop, what skills they love to develop. But tip that someone told me, when you're reaching out to some of these employers on a role that's not advertised, you can make it easier for them by, like listing out a roadmap on what skills you want to learn. So yeah, that has reminded
So
me of that.
I didn't quite get the question. The sound is a bit muffled. I don't know if it's on your end or my end, but I didn't quite get that. Could you maybe repeat that? I don't know why I'm leaning in. I have headphones on my head, but anyway. Could you repeat yourself, Hilbert?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
So I was saying, on that note that you've said, the way you ask, interns if what skills they love to learn, and I've remembered if that someone told me that when you're reaching out to some of these employers, you can make it easier for them by, like coming up sort of with a roadmap and say that this is what I want to learn. The end of maybe this time period, especially for roles that are not advertised. You may be like reaching out to you want them to create a role for you. So that's something that maybe some my friends here could actually use.
For sure. But you're so right. You're so right. Again, it comes back to what we were discussing a bit earlier on, right? To be open to your manager, your supervisor, or an employer that you're reaching out to for an opportunity of what you want to learn, what you're bringing to the table, what you want to contribute to what team or department. And yes, it could play in massive favor of of like spontaneous applications, like, hey, company XYZ studying software engineering. I'm currently involved in a Coursera course for Python or C++ or whatever. I'm really looking forward to put these skills into practice at the moment and learn more about, what the solutions I can build to help company XYZ, achieve their mission, for example, right? Spontaneously. Here is my resume, here is my cover letter, etc., etc. Please, I'll be happy to connect with you at your earliest convenience. Done. Not difficult, right? That's a very very good thing that you shared, Philbert. Thank you very much for that. I hope the others have taken that into consideration. All right, 3 minutes out. If no one has any more questions or anything to share, I'll be okay to finish up the call. Again, I appreciate for those of you who have voiced out and shared and been able to hopefully receive some useful advice. Again, book me in for coaching conversations. I'll be very happy to deepen the conversation with you guys and establish a plan. That's what I like doing with students, right? Is really working on how to get things out of your mind, put them on paper or in a document, and so that you see yourselves working through your milestones and your goals, right? It's not for me. I'm already working and have 10 years behind me. I don't sound old, but I have 10 years of experience behind me. Everything we do it for you, right? So never forget that. Always keep that in mind, that we are here to support and guide you. We're here to offer the best advice that we can. and we're here to offer the best support that we can. So, you know, but it's up to you ultimately to reach out to us and engage with us. So I thank you all. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out via Google Chat or simply book in a coaching session, and we'll get to talking. Thanks a lot, everyone.